The fact that you're as successful as you are, at all these things, you're wildly famous. You're also very unaffected, but you got nervous before your first set. I respected that. I said, okay, see, this guy makes all this money, still cares. It's that. You see some guys, you can see that you're a fighter. Sometimes the fight gets out of them.
Yeah,
your belly gets full. You don't feel like going as hard as you used to. Or you might start worrying about what they say in the press. And all that shit. None of that shit ever got to you, bro. You was going hard in the paint. It was fun. It was fun to watch. Like I'm like, yo, you going hard in the paint, bro. But it was fun, man. And the spirit that I love about the genre was ever present. Everything's gonna be okay is what the spirit of comedy always tells me.
Yeah.
And it was there. It just made me feel like, wow, this is.
If I can't do comedy, I'm not going to do comedy. You know what I'm saying? Like if I can't do real comedy, if I can't do comedy the way I've always done comedy, say wild shit that you don't even necessarily really mean, but it's funny. That's why you're saying it. And everybody knows. They know what you're doing. They know what you're doing.
I know guys that you know, and they're famous, but they struggle with this thing.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
And they stop coming around, and I miss their presence and their voices. And a lot of these young comedians, this process of refinement is gone because they don't have these guys to look to.
Right.
Because, they're making money, and I don't want to upset anybody. And
Yep.
Kids are in college or whatever it's going to be.
They don't want to ruin what they already put down. Yeah. They lay down some nice roots. They got a good thing going on. They don't want to fuck it up.
Would you ever leave the limelight?
Yeah, sure.
Does it bother you, the limelight? You don't live in a way where
I don't do limelight things. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't go to
you
parties.
You got to try some of this shit out, bro. It's not bad. You got to try some. I mean, look, you don't have to do it all the time. But once and again.
Once and again. I mean, I'm I have needs. And my needs are like exercise, keep my mind straight, all those needs, like those have to be fulfilled.
Elk meat.
Yeah, they have to be filled for mental clarity. Yeah.
Elon Musk or Malcolm Gladwell. What do you think about this shit Elon's going through with Saturday Night Live?
Ridiculous.
Yeah, it's puzzling.
No one is woke enough. They can't appreciate the fact that you're dealing with literally one of the most brilliant men that's ever lived, who's going to come do your show. You're talking about a guy who simultaneously runs multiple world-changing businesses, whether it's Tesla, whether it's SpaceX, whether it's the boring companies making tunnels underneath the fucking earth. He's putting satellites into space to put high-speed internet around the world. He's doing all these things simultaneously.
But can he write a monologue is what we're going to find out.
He's not funny. He's a brilliant guy. He could probably do anything if he set his mind to it, but the fact that they've decided somehow that he's problematic, like it doesn't make any sense.
I mean, but no one's really saying what. Is it just because he's rich?
Who knows? It doesn't matter anymore. They just decide, like, what the fuck is this? And everybody's like, what the fuck is this? This is bullshit.
So there was no obvious catalyst for this?
No.
Okay, I was just curious.
There was some people that felt like he dismissed COVID's danger at one point in time. They didn't like him because of that, but he did it just because he's intelligent, because his perspective was he's a reductionist, or I should say, like, his perspective on it was like looking at the numbers and looking at what it is as a thing, instead of looking at the emotional impact of people losing loved ones. And so sometimes someone who's like a genius might say something that appears to be insensitive. I don't think he's insensitive. I think he was just looking at it in terms of like what is the odds that you're going to die, and he's saying that children are essentially immune, and he was saying things that a lot of people felt were insensitive. But that was first of all, A, it was a long time ago, and B, he was just explaining his perspective on the disease, and he wasn't as fearful as they thought he should be. And then, he came to our shows, and there's pictures of all of us hanging out maskless. And then people got COVID afterwards. So a lot of people thought that it was his girlfriend that gave us COVID.
By the way, he and she were very incredibly kind.
Super nice.
Unaffected. I teased him about being the richest man in the world. He took it with good humor. And what's funny is I had hung out with him years ago after I quit Chappelle's show. When I was on that tour that I was telling you about, that was a tough one. We hung out on a tour bus, and he says to me that night when we was all together here in Austin, he goes, I met you before. I'm like, I have no recollection. And he looked kind of hurt. It was a long time ago. It was like 2-3 companies ago. I just thought it was funny, like, that he was the richest man in the world.
I think whether the people that are complaining that he's going to be on Saturday Night Live, I think what's going on now is like they want someone to be 100% compliant to whatever ideology they're a part of. And any deviation of that is problematic. Whether it's because they think, like I saw an article that said Elon Musk donated $150 million to some charity and they called him a cheapskate.
It's hilarious.
How hilarious is that?
Well, wait till they see when I'm a billionaire. Talk about, get ready for this cheapskate. No, my brother.
But it was such a shitty article. It's just a poorly written knucklehead article.
It's again, like you say, no one can be woke enough. You know, I'm torn because I like a warrior for a good cause, but I'm really into tactics. You're not going to nag people into behaving
right
in a way that's, you know, in fact, if you continue with this tone, even if you're right, you'll be very hard to hear.
Yeah, I think so.
And
it's just I don't mean maybe it was the COVID thing, like I'm saying. But again, if I think back on his statements, I don't think they were particularly insensitive. I think they were just, you know, it was more of like a factual bluntness to the way he discusses things, because he's a numbers guy. He looks at things in terms of equations. He's trying to put people on Mars. You know what I mean?
I remember seeing him on your show once, just like on one of these YouTube clips. But I dug the clip because it was just one soundbite. He said, "I have so much in my mind."
Yeah.
You remember this?
Yeah. Because I asked him, I'm like, "What's it like to be you? Like, what's it like? Just think." He goes, "You wouldn't want to be me."
I remember. Yeah. Yes, it's the one.
It wasn't bragging. It was just like he's being honest. Like, you wouldn't want this. His brain is like a hurricane. Like, there's just ideas like whoosh, like you could see it while he's sitting there. He's trying to sit here and just have a conversation with you, and he's probably going over fucking equations and thinking about concepts and new ideas and plotting things. And
I remember talking to somebody once. I'm not gonna say who, but they go, more than half the people on Earth live on $1 a day, and at least half of them are happy. He says, I know 20 billionaires, and all of them are miserable.
wow.
It's